Hey everyone, I'm Stephanie Gomolka, auction.com correspondent, and our live coverage continues. I'm joined with Susan Simpson, a attorney and podcaster. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Is this your first time at CrimeCon?
No, I was here last year for Nashville, yes.
Oh, really? And so tell me about what you're taking part in this weekend.
Well, this weekend I had Rabia, my co-host, is here as well, and we had a presentation yesterday at the Ballroom, and we've had a lot of time on Podcast Row, which has been great, meeting our listeners and telling people about the Undisclosed and then our podcast.
Yeah, so you guys have been collaborating on Adnan Syed's case for a while now. The story has been told, Adnan's story, as well as the story of Hayes' death multiple times. I just wanted to get your thoughts on what was different to you about the HBO documentary.
Well, the HBO was different because one is visual, and that's the one part of this case that's not been told at all so far. And because I was a part of it, but not in charge of the creation of it. For Undisclosed, we made that's our podcast, so I was used to knowing what the content was going to be, how it was going to be put together, what was going to be covered in it. This time it was a bit more of a mystery, just Trabi and I both, and it was strange being a subject instead of just the creator this time around.
Yeah, and one of the cool things too is you guys are so open about talking about your journey too, like after it came out, going live on Twitter and talking to other people that are interested in the case. Why did you guys want to step into Undisclosed in the podcast space and to tell more stories like that, in that medium too?
Well, we had blogs about the case after Serial, and they were, detailed, long, thorough. Put a lot of time in them, but also that's not how people want to hear about the story. Mm-hmm. So someone told us, like, hey, y'all want people to listen to you or hear what you're having to say, do it in a podcast. So we said, sure, how hard can that be? Pretty hard, it turned out, but we figured it out eventually. And then after we covered Adnan's case, we realized we'd learned a lot about how to do podcasts in the first place and how to cover these sorts of stories. So we've gone on to cover 11 more defendants since then.
11 more, wow. And then in terms of the podcast, is there anything else we can expect of, when more episodes are coming, or if you guys are looking into more cases?
Yeah, we have a busy season coming up. We have actually a series right now on the Keith Davis Jr. case out of Baltimore. We have some other cases from Tennessee and a different part of Maryland later this year. And also we have some big updates in our cases from Georgia, both for Joey Watkins and Dennis Perry.
Wow, a lot to look out for there. And then, so I just want to ask, because, you guys came last year, and I know you have the podcast, and there's Podcast Row. Why do you like to take part? You guys take part in so much different panels and speaking events. Why do you like to come to a place like CrimeCon?
I mean, mostly it's just to meet our listeners. That's the part I enjoy the most. We get a lot of, on social media, obviously. You can hear from them, talk to them, reach out to them, but it's pretty great to be able to come here and actually get to know them.
Yeah. So true. Mm-hmm. Then I also want to touch on Adnan's legal pathways forward. We talked to Colin Miller a couple months back, just before, as the appeals process has been ongoing for years. And I just want to ask you, there's so many different pathways, although they're limited, whether it's through the Supreme Court, the federal court, an unlikely pardon. Is there, or maybe it's new evidence, is there a pathway that you think is going to be the most viable option, just in your opinion?
He's lucky in that he has options still. There are several different routes he can go. Right now they're focusing on the Supreme Court petition because this is sort of a time-sensitive one, and it's now or never. That's unlikely to be granted, or unlikely to be heard in the first place. Mm-hmm. So once that is resolved, there's, like you said, there's federal court, there's state court options. I know they're weighing them all. At this point, I see merits in a number of the approaches, and it's always a gamble. In every case, this comes down to this. What do you take your chances on? What is the best route for having an innocent person come home? And there's risks and benefits to every approach, unfortunately. So it's a matter of doing your research, deciding which one is the most likely to have a good outcome, and hoping you're right.
How did you get involved in the case?
Blogging. I listened to Serial, started writing about it, and Rabia reached out to me, and it kind of all started with that.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you have a busy schedule here at CrimeCon. Our live coverage will continue throughout the rest of the weekend. Be sure to stay tuned.